know I already posted this on Blogger, but I'm going to do a special reading of it. Honestly, this is how I wanted the movie to have ended if I had my way, but this is an alternate universe version of the story. Chapter 1, A Love Unrequited. Naina and Rohit worked in the same building. It had been the same ever since they were kids. Rohit had always loved other girls, and other girls swarmed around him like butterflies to a butterfly balm. Naina, though, always loved him, and never had the opportunity to tell him until now. It was after work, and she had finally gained the courage to walk up to him and voice her intentions. "Rohit?" she asked, a bit demurely. His warm smile made her heart flutter as he leaned closer to hear her cute, angelic, tiny voice. "Yes, Naina? What is it?" he asked curiously. "Would you like to go out on a date with me? You see, I have liked you for a long time," Naina began, blushing hotly. Rohit smiled broadly. "Naina, you're a sweet, gentle lady. Sadly, I'm in love with another," Rohit began. In fact, he had begun telling her that he was going to be married in another year to Jazeera. What hurt her even more is that Rohit wanted her to attend the celebration. Of course, Naina was flattered that he wanted her to support him, which she would, but not without her heart breaking every single moment and thinking, "That should have been me." She knew, though, these were wasted words, and words at that. She put on her bravest face, wore her brightest wedding attire, and she would put on her bravest face, wear her brightest wedding attire, and feign happiness. It would be enough to convince Rohit that she was happy, but inwardly she would be wishing that she was dead. After the glorious wedding, Naina indeed came home, weeping like a baby. She had never cried this hard in her entire life. "Mama, why do I love him? Why did he have to meet Jazeera first before I ever fell for him? We were supposed to be together. It should have been me who was marrying him," she said angrily. Naina's mother brought her close and stroked her hair. She hadn't seen her daughter this upset since her heart had been broken years ago. The wound was grievous and deep. She didn't know if her darling, loving daughter would ever allow her heart to love again. "I don't know what to say, but don't despair. Tomorrow will be a better day. Just be happy for Rohit. I know it's difficult, but in time you will heal. Trust me," her mother said gently. At first, Naina didn't want to listen to a single word her mother had said, but she knew everything she said was right. All she wanted to do now was to throw herself into bed and cry herself to sleep. Chapter 2, Man of Her Dreams. As she sobbed, she prayed for an angel to come into her life. She had a flashback of a life previously lived. She had married Rohit before when he had walked the earth. It only hurt more reliving that memory, but then another image came into her mind, a Hindi version of Pretty Woman sung by an incredibly sexy, sensual man. He was well dressed and his voice was marvelously sweet and alluring. She was drawn to it indescribably and couldn't stop grinning. She was tentative at first to approach him, but he came to her and held her from behind. Softly, gently, his lips touched the nape of her neck. She sighed desirously, realizing that this was the man who kissed her before so daintily in their life before the previous one. "I'm here. I'm your angel. You won't be alone for long. I promise you that. I lost you once, Naina. I won't lose you this time," he whispered into her ear, holding her close. She felt her heart racing so fast she could barely think. As soon as she turned around to see this mystery man, he had vanished, like the wind, rain, and mist that surrounded him. The thundering of her heart still continued, and her tears had been wiped dry. A refreshing wind came by, blowing through her hair. "Naina," it said, almost as if it were a prayer or a song, so sacred and glorious. "I love you," it said musically. "Who are you?" Naina questioned curiously, following the wind like a child chasing a kite. She couldn't help but titter like a schoolgirl. "You'll know me when you see me, darling. Don't look for me. I will come to you," the mellifluous voice said as it disappeared. The moment she awoke, she felt that her burden had been lifted. She had something now she had never had before. Hope. It kept her going, and she knew strangely that this dream was no delusion. It was a vow that was meant to be kept, even passing the very barriers of time and space to culminate in the present. Chapter 3, The Loveliest Flower in the Garden. Naina was feeling lighter than a feather. She wore her best floral dress and wore her hair up, accentuating her features with flashes of makeup. She didn't need too much because she was already a vision. Lots of men were turning their heads as she walked, but she paid them no heed. She was there to breathe in the energy of nature and savor the flowers of Central Park. She had gone by a rose bush and leaned over to inhale its intoxicating fragrance when a man dressed in white, a yellow scarf draped around his neck, stopped by and stooped down to smell a rose as well. Unfortunately, he pricked his finger. Naina heard him explain, sucking the wound to make the bleeding stop. "Are you all right?" she asked. He smiled broadly. "Even better now. You have to be the loveliest flower in the garden. I knew I would see you again," he said poetically. Naina felt a stirring in her heart. It was a fire stoked by his very presence. His eyes spoke volumes to her. "You're the man of my dreams," Naina said, thinking it sounded nearly incredulous and delirious coming out of her mouth. However, it was neither. It was bold, audacious, and true. "I told you I'd find you," he said, taking her hand in his. Softly, he took her hand to his lips and smiled. "I wanted to make you smile and laugh again. You're never going to be alone, as long as I'm around," he chimed merrily. She felt her heart flip-flopping. It was like coming back into the embrace of someone long lost but now found. She knew that this was her twin flame. Now they could take the world by storm, step by step. Chapter 4. Truest Love. Aman, oddly enough, happened to be Naina's next-door neighbor. He loved to smile, laugh, and have a happy-go-lucky approach to everything in life. He had a spring in his step and a song on his lips. Everywhere he went, he whistled. He often serenaded Naina, but she adored every minute of it. She felt so much like a princess, and he was her dashing prince. He wooed her the way a courtesan would and gave her trinkets of his love every day until he took her to his favorite restaurant, or something stunning. "Yet I'm certain anything you put on will look smashing on you," he complimented over the phone before taking her out to dinner. He had been dating her consistently for a year, and both of them had been doing stellar in their jobs. Naina had never wanted someone else to look after her. She had been doing well enough on her own, but Aman wanted to cater to her every need. Part of her didn't mind being spoiled rotten, especially not by someone so magnanimous and genteel. Aman found an alfresco diner, one they had gone to numerous times. They had been romantic as well as best friends. It was all they ever wanted in a relationship. She nearly gasped when she saw him. Aman was dashing in his high-class pinstripes suit and red tie. A pair of sunglasses gave him a je ne sais quoi. She, too, was wearing red, and he bought red roses to make the occasion even more auspicious. "Red roses for a siren in red," he purred poetically. She immediately received the bouquet, bringing it up to her nose and indulging herself in the resplendence of it. "Thank you," she said. "It truly does suit you, red. Brings out your passionate nature," he said. She wondered what he was going on about. It seemed like he was stalling. He fiddled about in his pocket, which was unseen even by her astute eyes. With a deft flick, he presented a stunning 24-karat gold heart encompassed within a heart, infinity, embracing it, diamond. She gasped. It was splendiferous. Before Aman could even make a peep, she grasped both of his hands and squeaked, "Yes." He could barely hear her. "Come again, my love?" he queried, cheekily joshing her. "Yes, Aman, I will marry you. You're all I ever wanted, all I ever needed. I can face 1,000 tomorrows with you by my side, and I know I will never walk this life alone with you. We are meant to be, my sweet," she said, squeezing his hands tenderly. He put the ring on her finger, got up from the table, spun her around in his arms, and brought her close to him, embracing her. He looked into her eyes and laughed. "You've made me the happiest man alive, Naina," he confessed. She stepped up on her tiptoes, even in high Prada heels. "Likewise, my handsome bard," she said, continuing to kiss him deeply and passionately as she ran her fingers delicately through his hair. She never wanted to leave his side ever again, and thanks to the upcoming wedding ceremony, she would never have to. Chapter 5. Full Circle. Oddly, Rohit came to the wedding to support his friend. Naina didn't feel any pangs of regret or excruciating pain of rejection. She only felt serenity, support, encouragement, and agape from everyone around her. She wasn't going to see her husband just yet, but she had imagined how grand the gala would be once he would be decked in all of his colorful finery. She herself felt like a princess. It was something she had only dreamed of, and she had even her mom and her cousins pinched her to make certain that this wasn't another one of her incredibly detailed lucid dreams. Okay, stop pinching. I know this is reality now, she said. Her family couldn't help but laugh, even though they had tears of joy streaming down their faces. Their little girl was now a full-grown woman. What did I tell you? You had doubted it for so long, but now look at you. You've gotten you've gotten the happiness coming to you. Your patience proved true, Naina's mother said sagely, kissing her daughter's auspicious mark for good luck and guarding her against the evil eye. Naina's eyes were filled with jubilant tears as the dancing and merriment surrounded them. Aman couldn't seem to help having some tears slip down his youthful face as well. Epilogue. As the fire surrounded them and the glory of marigolds inundated, the two found themselves alone after the attendants of the wedding had dispersed. It was only the two of them together, locked in each other's embrace. They had finished being one for the first time and gazed deeply into each other's eyes. Aman stared intimately into Naina's eyes. It could only say her name, more sacred than a prayer, as he kissed her forehead. The sound of his heartbeat lured her into a peaceful state, soon into a deep sleep. I love you too, and will forever, my darling love, my beloved Aman, she said musically. Aman sighed serenely and soon fell into slumber himself, not wanting for anything else. It was the picture of everything they had wanted. They knew that troubles would come, but they knew that troubles would come that they would face would be trivial in the wake of their unending unconditional love they had for one for the other. After all, they had waited 2 lifetimes simply to be reunited again, and it had been worth every second they had together. The end.